Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go to the upside. So it looks like BTC held that 382. We talked about an ascending channel of hugging this path, and then sure enough, it never went below that 382 of that daily support zone. If SR flipped it and boom to the upside to 34.9, almost 35k on this Coinbase chart, reclaiming higher highs and coming into that resistance levels of previous candles over here from January 2022. So what in the world, what type of liquidity? Also the 0.5 of this diagonal pitch fan to the upside, reaching into this golden pocket take profit zone after the 236 entry model down here of this diagonal pitch fan to the upside. Let's go ahead and take a look at the liquidity of high block. What is high block? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see where those crispy characters lie in wait. So let's do it now. So it seems to pale in comparison now with all these 190 pools here. What exactly was pinged in this wick to the upside? Let's go take a look at what ensued inside these candles. So you had a bunch of $500 million injected and taken out immediately in that wick there. If we zoom in here, you can see there's $500 million injected in and immediately pulled out onto those shorts that they liquidated. What shorts do you say? Well, we have to expand our vision to the higher time frame. You cannot see it here on the 7-day. 7-day did clear the range of all these billions that basically were taken out last night, and then we spiked down here, induced some more shorts, and boomed up into the external liquidity. What do I mean by external? Well, you have to go to the 2-year time frame to see it, and sure enough, here on the 2-year, it's going to take a minute to update on the daily range, but basically we took out this entire 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 900 billion dollars on this short liquidity range of the 2-year time frame. What do I mean by 2-year time frame? Well, the entire range here has some liquidity which has been resting. 40 billion that has turned into 220 billion in these ranges accordingly. 226, 221, 220, and they came back and took all of it. So the entire range up here all gone, all the way up to 34.8. So this entire region of liquidity will be basically updated, and this will be entirely gone. So that means that you are safe to retrace into these pools at some point. I expect you will induce some shorts to drift a little bit higher. It's not immediate. However, the previous wick that did ensue, if we go into the Binance chart, we did have this rise, retrace, continuation. This bullish trend-based fib level did have you at hello for this region. We were talking about coming up to that pocket to liquidate those external shorts, so be very careful on your shorts. If you reclaim the clouds, you are definitely in the category to be destroyed. So if we go to the I don't think we need to go over the basic target that was obliterated here was in this external range of the 2-year. I don't think we need to go looking below. We all know what is below at this point, so everything below here is a target potentially. So let's go ahead and take a look. This was obliterated, so we can take this one out. This ABC played out, and let's go ahead and throw on our oscillators and see where the momentum is heading from here. Link in the description for more, of course. MomentumMaster.info. Scroll down to features. Toggle everything at Bitcoin's bottom before we knew it was a bottom in November with the rocket ships. We even had the rocket ships for you back in, where was it? Whoa. We had the, where was that? So, where was that? Trying to remember where it was. There we go. So we had this back in October 13th, the rocket ship down at 26.7, and we also had the rocket ship down at the bottom at this region down here in September. So we had the continuation rocket and the original rocket ship, and of course the one down in December. So every rocket ship has had you at hello thus far. The only rocket ship that did not play out was back here in August when SpaceX dumped their Bitcoin for whatever reason. Most likely they bought it back right at the range they sold it by the looks of it. All right. So this, probably if you even measure this is probably the same amount that it surged up. So this amount that it came down by is the same amount that SpaceX bought back for, or whatever market maker manipulation excuse they needed to liquidity grab. And this is the stochastic array for the win. This looks very similar in structure. Obviously this looks like the schematic here. You get this liquidity grab, you create that double bottom, and you're out. Boom. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at the higher time frames, start to see where things may be heading. So getting a vector candle on the daily, 32 minutes to close. You got the first vector, the second vector, you could get a third vector at some point, and the stopping volume on the daily. So this may or may not be over just yet. You do have we were talking about the money flow coming beneath the RSI here, and this being a telltale sign of the money flow wanting to come back to the RSI, and the drift of the Williams, of the average coming up to the Williams. We were talking about be careful of shorts. It is not showing signs of abating. The cross up event of the 3-day has been holding true. The disparity between the two baselines is what has been showing this upwards momentum. You had the Williams rising sun also in effect, still could drift higher on the 3-day. So you have this higher time frame draw, potentially up to that 36K region. Not going to call that just yet, but a rejection point at that adaptive on the 3-day. When's the last time we touched the adaptive? It was back in March of 2022 before we started to pull back. So this is an adaptive moving average on the 3-day. Be careful for that hit. All right, so going beneath that to the 22-hour time frame. The 22-hour time frame also had that money flow beneath the RSI, suggesting you come up higher, and the drift of the Williams. The 12-hour time frame. The 12-hour time frame also starting to drift higher. The money flow possibly coming up to this RSI when we have that 12-hour candle close. You're extremely overbought above the channel here, the price channel. So we're going to take a look at the 8 and the 6. The 8-hour and the 6-hour still doing the cross down, cross up game here. The angle of the cloud still thick and starting to point to 2 o'clock. Still could continue here. I consider trimming some off the around this. Hopefully you had limit sells up in this region to reward yourself for the move. 6 hour also starting to bring that money flow up to the RSI. 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame is still starting to get that play. We talked about yesterday how this 4 hour basically insinuates bullishness by having this sideways action or upwards drift while having this reset of the stochastic probabilities here, and basically to look out for a potential continuation because we've been holding the super trend on the hourly. The hourly super trend, as we make our descent here, the hourly super trend has been our friend for quite some time. Let's go ahead and watch this hourly super trend. It has not broken. It has not broken since the rocket ship down here on October 14th. Take a look at this. So this blue line here, this super trend has been holding. We talked about this. We were talking about a retrace, and then it retraced into the super trend, and we talked about how this super trend is your key idea to look at for continuation. So if it started to hold that, you would have closed your short and repositioned into a long, or looked at the long idea as we reclaimed the cloud, and sure enough, boom. And then once again we came back to the super trend right here, and then we reclaimed it, and boom, reclaimed the cloud, and boom. So the super trend is your friend for that continuation sauce. Starting to get overbought here, but I wouldn't be too quick to necessarily just position, jump right into a short. It could range trade and drift higher in an ascending channel way. Extremely bullish. New echelons have been reached. Even the 15-minute super trend has you at hello from back here. Holding the cloud kiss, boom. So I'd give the market some time to absorb this. This is Tuesday pre-market, so this is coming in before Asia even opens. So does Asia take it higher? Do you see some sort of reclamation of this wick? You are getting 6 time frames overbought, so I'd let the market chill out, figure out what it wants to do. If you have some dinero to spare, you could have positioned into a short and just seen where it wants to go. It doesn't look like it's going to abate anytime soon. Let's go ahead and delete this little zone that we hit, because that was where we were aiming at. If we go into the total market cap for crypto, we can see that there was also a milestone reached up in the fair value gap region. If we go up to here, this was a previous fair value gap we were looking at 1.23 trillion, and that hit as well as the zone. So we went almost up to the 2 level of this bullish trend based fib zone. So we've been holding the bullish narrative from the rocket ships that appeared, hitting that 786 on the total 3. So a lot of the alts also taking off here. Everything across the board, even the shill coin of the influencers, Pepe, which they signaled out in their Telegram group because they're all shady. Didn't even pass a CERDIC audit. Why would you trade something that has no official, what's the word? It's not authorized. It has backdoors and all sorts of weird stuff for those people like who are having breakdowns on stream. And yeah, anyway, that is what it is. We go to the NQ and DXY. So NQ also, DXY retraced back into that pool, reclaimed everything did not hold that fair value gap region at all, retraced completely as they repositioned into that. Wait, what? So it dropped down and basically took out this idea. We do have this gap up in this region at some point to come back to. It held this range to give the insinuation of ambiguity and then dropped like a rock. NQ yesterday saw a little bit of a retrace to the upside. We saw this little rocket ship that appeared. Don't believe us? Well, we had that to the group. We were talking about it on stream yesterday. Back here, where was it? So we had these rocket ships appearing in the moment down at this region at 527, and sure enough, boom, to the upside for NASDAQ as well. That was just straight upside for the entire session, really. Had a little bit of a retrace, but wasn't worth shorting at all. Here we go. So we had the rocket ships take off, came back for that double bottom in the open, and it was gone. So if you're a positional trader, this is beautiful accuracy. Can't get more deadly than that. Had that with the nukes at the top, now the rockets on the bottom. Loving it, loving it. And yeah, basically I would let the market absorb what it has done right now. You're coming back retracing to the tune of, if you did position up in a short, if you had a limit order just for giggles up here, then you'd be handsomely rewarded in your long. And if you immediately positioned in a short after that, you had that beautiful V shape. Coming back below, that was a mighty fast candle, fast move, false move. This could be a nice V shape to the downside. Come back to kiss this cloud on the 15/super trend. You got a possible 3.2% drop here. If you look at the liquidity, let's go ahead and see what is on the chopping block, as the shorts are absolutely destroyed. So you got a bunch of these little pools of 84 million, 60 million, 130 million throughout sparse little bubbles. They look small because of these big ones that now make them pale in comparison, the 574, which they took out. So they took out all of the that $574 million surge was taken out all the way down to here at 32.54, bounced off the 25x of that, and then came back. Those are likely market maker positions of whatever objective they were aiming at, and they inserted and removed their entries. So as where they stand right now, it's now all up to the retail bubbles that they can reclaim at this time. The imbalance is to 21 billion to the downside in terms of long liquidity imbalance to the downside. So seeing a little bit of a retrace after something like that, even a V-shaped down to the cloud or below, would not be surprising. But Bitcoin has recently done plays like this where it surges up, comes back, and then slowly drifts higher. Like this. So I've seen this before. We did it with the wick reclaiming. I'll show you. What do I mean by that? Well, here's one. We had this, we went up, we gave it all back, we meandered around, and then we surged back up. Whereas another time we did that, even when we were at the top here, we did that a lot here. We were doing this a lot at the tops here. We did this surge up, kind of meandered around, and then brought it back up. We did this again here, we did it in here, This has been a regular play where they V-shaped, consolidate, bring it down to give weakness, and then they bring it back up. Bring it back up, bring it back up. You know, it's the same thing over and over and over. So this type of idea of the V-shaped, this one they did it, but then they brought it back down. So they make that stab, recover their liquidity on both sides because the over leverage is getting paid, and then they possibly take it higher. So the super trend on the hourly super strong thus far, holding this 5.5% away. Had you at hello from Sunday. Don't really have any entries or anything to say other than just, wow, amazing move to the upside here. You could get this retracement down to these regions, particularly at the 15-minute cloud zone after that nice move to the upside. This would also be the pocket region. I think we cleared this bullish trend-based fib level, so we're going to delete that for now. Let's go see if you want anything for me to look at. Do you have anything for me to look at? Anyone have any coins they want me to analyze while you have me? Any of these? What was the date of this? Wait, let's go see what the date of, what was the date of my prediction of this rocket ship at the bottom here? I want to make sure this, how many days ago that was. Here was Thursday. It was last Thursday. Was it last Thursday? No, 2 Thursdays ago. Thursday, okay, so it was the Thursday the 12th. So that gives you about 2 weeks ago. Just gonna test a theory here. The 12th. 24 minus 12 is 12. So let's do this. Just want to see something here. So 37 minus 12 would be at 25. So if you go to 25, Bitcoin on a tightrope. And I remember he was putting it out to the group that it was bearish, as we saw rocket ships. But people have amnesia, don't they? They just lap up the narcissists like fake up-down moves, projections. So, waves, sir. All right, let's do it. What's up, Leroy? Waves always moves first prior to the move. Looks like it's very similar to BTC. Got that surge to the upside, almost similar in nature. If we go, I think we can actually see the liquidity up here. Let's go into the waves. Okay, firstly we can look at the liquidity of some altcoins, which is nice. So you see here on the waves chart, we have 32 million imbalance in longs that they could retrace into. Still pinging in some shorts in these new ranges, so I'd be careful. These positioned 500,000 characters might think they're clever, and they might just still continue to go grab these 50x 500,000 characters up here. the thicker noodle or band of liquidity is up in this region immediately from the price action, so they could come up to that 50x, even though they are imbalanced to the tune of 32 million. If we go ahead and take a look at that, I definitely don't buy breakout candles, so I would be looking for some sort of retracement at some point. If you want to see where we're at the range zone, so this would be where you would consider, if you can't make it above this region, that you could retrace into these regions down below. A equilibrium price at the 1.537. This could come down to here, and ideally you'd want to see this retracement down into the pocket region here, or even a deep retrace. But the cloud we broke through the cloud. We didn't even kiss it once on the 6 hour. So do we come back and kiss that cloud? The 4 hour already in that pocket region. So do you establish some candle above this range or not? Need to see some conviction above this range to be solidified in stone. Otherwise, a retracement for that rise, retrace, continuation in effect. So this doesn't mean that it's not going to go higher. If you're in a profitable position, it might be nice to pay yourself and think about repositioning at a later date. Most likely in a pocket retrace zone here. Something similar to that. You are creating that rounded bottom, and this doesn't necessarily need to come all the way down. You could get a shallow retrace. You could even just come down to here, or just go to the equilibrium. It's all about your level of patience and what type of zones you like to play more than others. So that is waves. Is there liquidity down in that region? There sure is, the entire way down. So coming back down into that 153 region would clear this entire band of liquidity. So it makes sense to me to come down to the 153 and below. At least coming into this candle, there's a fair value gap here. Essentially in this region. And that's waves. Yo, what's up, APV? But yeah, like without casting too much shade, like there's like I mean, I've been putting out these like rocket ships and nukes as they appear, and I get little to no viewers. And then somebody gets regularly like 500, and they're completely wrong down here, for example. Or they're completely wrong down here, the shortened bottoms and longing tops. Like how much of their audience is like just blindly getting wrecked all the time. But as long as that $100 a month just flowing into their, you know, so they can take vacations and flex and jacuzzis and stuff, doesn't matter, right? Literally flexing in a jacuzzi, it's so cringe. So we're getting up into that 32.9 region, coming back to the cloud. We'll see how this absorbs. Does it come back and retrace into some of this surge up? Awesome move for BTC. I got to go take my son to school. So I thank you for your time, and we'll see you for NQ Futures later tonight for me, or morning for you Americans. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you for NQ Futures.